Okay, sir. Now, once again, I welcome you all. Good evening. Now, I request Professor C. Sindhe to invoke the universal prayer. Sir.
Oh. O hidden life, vibrant in every atom. O hidden light, shining in every creature. O hidden love, embracing all in oneness. May each who feels himself as one with thee know he is also one with every other. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you.
So no need of introduction again.
Yes,
So
yes.
straight away, I am placing a question from Sister Bimal Balchandra. Her question was, she in her question inquired, can a comparison be made of the effects produced in the 4 stages of Samadhi of Patanjali's Yoga Sutras and JK's teachings? Sir, your answer, sir.
Influence of Vimalji is there, no?
Yes, Vimalji.
Vimalji?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, you are there.
Yeah.
The influence of Patanjali, it is not at all forced. The Patanjali also gives the steps. You know, yam, niyam, asan, pranayam, dhyan, dharana, these all are steps. And when we reach to that samadhi state, if we are going through these steps and if we reach to that samadhi state, that state itself is, we can say, that state itself is the awareness, avadhanata. That awareness has got no choice. And it comes through observation. So observation demands, as Krishnamurti says, simple and free mind. And Patanjali also says, chittavritti nirodha. So with chittavritti nirodha, we attain to this state of simple and free mind so that one can observe himself very clearly. That is what Krishnamurti says. If you reach to that stage, you can observe yourself very clearly. And this observation itself makes you aware without choice. Then one can observe his own every thought, every feeling. He is not controlling his thought. He is observing his every thought. He is observing every feeling. And then actually he begins to observe both thinker and the thought. See, these are the steps. Because there is a division between the thinker and the thought. What division? Thinker always dominate. There is an experiencer and experience. So thinker always trying to change the thought. Thinker always trying to modify the thought. Thinker always trying to control the thought. And this is what thinker influencing the thought. So if you observe this influence, even through Patanjali steps or anyone, they all are connected with the thought. So we are asked to discover how this division between the thinker and the thought creates conflict in us. Conflict because thinker is always a censor. But it is the entity that makes us to judge, that makes us to evaluate. But can we realize this entity? This entity itself is a conditioned. That is what Krishnamurti points. This entity itself is a conditioned entity. And therefore, with this entity, our observation is reaction to the memory. This is so simple to find out how memory produces the thinker. It is not thought, our own memory produces the thinker. Our own memory produces the thought. And this is what self-observation practice is very important. We as the Theosophical members, we practice this self-observation. But the question is, can we observe the thought without the thinker? Means, can we observe the thought without the memory? Don't allow memory in it. Don't allow that is the freedom of thought, Krishnamurti says. As we know now the nature of the thinker, as I said, he is the sensor, then can we observe the thought without the thinker means? And if we are able to achieve that, like Patanjali's Samadhi state, then that is, if we observe that thought, then that thought is noble thought. Only that thought is noble thought and not ignoble thought. So when we think of unity, then the thought of diversity, it drops naturally. So this is what both are telling the same. No, even if influence is there, we should not get confused. We have to understand both the ways. Both are Patanjali is also a wonderful scientist, a teacher, and very nicely he has given. We can follow that one. And if we come to that stage, all these stages are important. And Krishnamurti's observation gives a little direction to the intellectuals which are getting confused. For them, it is something to train their mind. Everybody gets some guidance from Krishnamurti's teaching. That's what I think.
Thank you, sir.
I don't know whether I have satisfied your answer or not, but whatever I have understood, I try to tell you.
No, thank you, sir. Basically, the conflict was because sometimes they look like very different because like Patanjali is very step by step, one after another. Whereas this is totally like, don't follow rules, follow your inner self-knowledge. But again, the same words are there in Patanjali, like self-knowledge is there in that also. So how to integrate these different ideas when we are studying? Or is that in some contradiction in, is it that one has to choose one and not the other? You know, that type of thinking is there. That was going on in my mind. Thank you, sir.
Welcome. So we will begin now. Pradeep, we will go with these books. We have finished 3 chapters. The 4th chapter is on politics, and 5th chapter is on education, no, on the war. Then 6th chapter is on the education, and 7th chapter is on, can the human being completely change? So we are giving our attention, trying to be attentive what Krishnamurti wanted to convey us. And he always puts questions. If you look into their questions, on the 4th topic on politics.
Sir, we will start where you left yesterday.
4th chapter, you open that one on politics.
Okay, sir. Okay. Oh, yes.
That you can put.
This is third chapter.
This is fourth, yeah.
Fourth on politics, yes, sir.
Yeah. Fourth on politics. So this we are going to study today.
Okay, sir.
And here he raises the question, why is not there a group of people sitting together trying to solve the problems of nationalism? Why is it not there a group of people sitting together trying to solve the problems of nationalism? Krishnamurti was always eager to bring like-minded people. If they are really seriously thinking, then something will happen. He was confident. So he asked, why is not there a group of people sitting together and trying to solve the problems of nationalism? Second question, why do you waste your time? Why do you waste your time preaching? Why do you waste your time in preaching instead of helping the world in a practical way? So to act collectively, we must begin individually. Why don't you participate in politics or in social reform? Why do we separate politics from our daily living? We want to bring order within society, but how are we to do it? He who is eager to reform the world, must first understand himself, for he is the world. And this is what he asks on the politics, that topic, social responsibility, and how the individual is responsible. Why does one create an image about oneself? That also a basic question. We create image of ourselves because we are self-conscious. That is the reason in the course of evolution we have achieved that faculty of self-consciousness. So we create image. And Krishnamurti himself says, I quote his words, I have observed a great deal, talked to a great many people in my life. And there are very, very few people who are really concerned, who are really committed to discovering if there is different way of living. There are very rare people who are thinking of a global relationship, global intercommunication, not merely stumbling over language, not the religious or political divisions, but really finding out if we can live on this earth peacefully, without killing each other. I think that is the real issue we are now facing. And we think the crisis is outside us. We think that the crisis is outside us, but it is in us, in our consciousness. So this is the very basic question he asked. Why is it not there a group of people sitting together trying to solve the problem of nationalism? And he said, there are such people who are committed in discovering this. And he asked, can we live on this earth peacefully? We as human beings. And he points out, as masters also pointed out, we as human beings are what we have been for millions of years. Living in a colony, greedy, envious, aggressive, jealous, anxious. with occasional flashes of joy and affection. We are storage mixture of hate, fear, and gentleness. See, we are the storage mixture of hate, fear, and gentleness. So we are both. We are both violence and peace. There has been outward progress. Just to say, from the bullock cart to the jet plane, this is the outer progress. But psychologically, the individual has not changed at all. And the structure of society throughout the world, as we know, it is created by the individuals. So the outward social structure is the result of inward psychological structure of our human relationships. Because the individual is the result of the total experience, total knowledge, and total conduct of man. So each one of us is the storehouse of the past. The individual is a human who all is mankind. The whole history of man is written in ourselves. That is why he insists, read the book of life. And then he asks, sir, when you realize that you are the entire humanity, when you realize that you are the entire humanity, that is what is. That is what is, love is. You will not kill then another. You will not kill another then if you know that you are entire humanity. Then you will move out away from all aggressions. You move out away from all violence, brutality of all religions. Then our consciousness is shared, is one with all humanity. You don't see the beauty of it. You don't see the immense. And therefore he asked, can some people sit together and try to solve this problem? And this lecture was given by Jiddu Krishnamurti, Bombay, 9th February 1985. He says peace is not an ideal. Only we don't want to face the fact that you and I are responsible for wars. You and I may talk about peace. We may have conferences, sit round table, but we are not changing our images. And therefore he asks, why does one create an image? Why does one create an image about oneself, about his country, about his religion? Why does one create an image? Because one has never studied what one is. Because he creates image because he has not studied what one is actually. And therefore we think we should be this or that, the ideal, the hero, the example. This is what becoming process is there in our consciousness. Then he asked, what awakens anger? Is it not our ideal? Is it not the idea we have of ourselves? That idea is attacked us, and therefore that awakens the anger. Our idea is shattered, our idea is attacked, our image is attacked, therefore it gives rise to the anger. So simple, he explains. And our idea about ourselves is our escape from the fact what we are. So he insists us to look what images you have created and how you react with those images. Let us remember what Krishnamurti says. He says, there is no revolution, no fundamental. 1 minute, 1 minute. Sorry, I was to give key. So he asked, our idea about ourselves is our escape from the fact of what we are. This is what we have to be careful. What we are concerned with is not reformation or modified continuity, which you call revolution, but the fundamental transformation of man in his relationship with man. And as long as the basic change does not take place in the individual, we cannot produce a new social order. The fundamental transformation does not depend on belief. He points, we are caught in our belief, religious organization, on political and economical systems, but they are not bringing the fundamental transformation. The fundamental transformation depends on your understanding of yourself in relationship with the other. And that is the real revolution which must take place in each individual. Then only you as an individual will have an extraordinary influence in society, because human consciousness is one, human species is one, and human consciousness is the common field, common background, where we add through our thinking, feeling, and this is how we influence the common field of consciousness of human species. And this is not a sacrifice. If you are really changing yourself, if you are really adding in the human consciousness good thing, it is not a sacrifice, it is the duty. Obviously, this duty need to be fulfilled. So this is what in collected work, volume 5th, the 6th, Colombo, Sri Lanka, January 1950, I have quoted. So the point is, to act collectively, we must begin individually. And therefore he asks, why don't you face the economic and social evils instead of escaping into dark, mystical affairs? Why don't you face the economic and social evils instead of escaping into some dark, mystical affairs? So basic needs need to be fulfilled first, economic needs, social needs, and those must be solved first. And for that, we are escaping ourselves to the dark mystical affairs. And then he says, I have been trying to point out that only by giving importance to those things that are primary can the secondary issues be understood and solved. The question is, so give importance to the primary and then the secondary you can understand. Let us remember, when we think on politics, our economic and social evils are not to be adjusted without understanding what causes them. So to understand them and bring about a fundamental change, we have to first comprehend ourselves. What are the causes of these economic and social evils? We have both individually and a group created social and economic confusion. We alone are responsible for them, and thus we individually and so perhaps collectively can bring order and clarity. See how he speaks. Together we can bring order and clarity. Can bring. And to act collectively, we must begin individually. To act as a group, each one must understand and change radically those causes within himself, because they produce the outer conflict and misery. So through legislation, they won't bring any beneficial results. They won't alter the inner fundamental causes of conflict and antagonism. Only they will be overturned and confusion will rise again. Outer reformers will never lead further reform. And this way leads to an operation of violence. So lasting outer order and creating peace is the problem. How can we have a lasting outer order and creative peace that can come about only if each one brings order and peace within himself? This is what he gives in collect. This is what already on long back in 12th century Confucius himself says. If there is righteousness individually, we must try. If there is righteousness in your heart, there will be beauty in your character. If there is beauty in your character, there will be harmony in the home. If there is harmony in the home, there will be order in the nation. And if there is order in the nation, there will be peace in the world. This is what individually, if we bring that kind of heart, which has no hate, jealousy, envy, and if that heart influences our brain and mind complex, then perhaps we transform ourselves individually. And when Krishnaji asked, why is not there a group of people sitting together trying to solve the problem of nationalism? And when he was asked, why do you waste your time preaching instead of helping the world in a practical way? And he replied, now, what do you mean by practical? You mean by bringing about change in the world, a better economic adjustment, a better distribution of wealth, a better relationship, or to put it more brutally, helping you to find a better job. You want to see a change in the world. So to discuss, we prefer to substitute one ideology for another. And so we escape from action through ideology. Surely that is very simple. Is it not? He asks. The world at the present time is facing many problems like overpopulation, starvation, division of people into nationalities, different classes, and so on. Why is it not there a group of people sitting together trying to solve the problem of nationalism? But if we try to become international while clinging to our nationality, that is what we are doing. If we try to become international while clinging to our nationality, we create another problem. And that is what most of us do. So you see that ideals are really preventing action. An eminent authority has said the world can be organized and all the people can be fed. Then why is it not done? Because of conflicting. So every intelligent man does, and you want a method to bring about that change. And therefore you ask me why I waste my time preaching instead of doing something about it. Now, is what I am actually doing a waste of time? He asks. It would be waste of time if I introduced a new set of idea to replace the old ideology, old pattern. Perhaps that is what you want me to do. But instead of pointing out so-called practical way to act, to live, to get better job, to create a better world, is it not important to find out what are the impediments which actually prevent a real revolution? This is what he points, and he makes us aware. Let us find out the cause. Therefore, he says, ideas are actually preventing the feeding of people, and most of us play with the ideas and think we are tremendous revolutionaries, hypnotizing ourselves with such words of practical. So what is important is to free ourselves from ideas, from nationalisms, from all religious beliefs and dogmas, so that we can act not according to pattern or ideology. A man who is patriotic, nationalist, can never know what it is to be brotherly. Though he may talk about brotherhood, on the contrary, his actions economically and in every direction are conducive to war. So there can be right action, and therefore radical lasting transformation only when the mind is free of ideas, not superficially, but fundamentally. And freedom from ideas can take place only through self-awareness and self-knowledge. That is what Vimalji in the beginning asked this question. So here this self-observation, self-awareness, self-knowledge, this liberates actually from all kinds of miseries and problems. So he who is eager to reform the world first understand himself, for he is the world. If the reformer if the contributor to the solution of the world's problems has not radically transformed himself, if he has had no inner revolution of values, then what he contributes will only add further to conflict and misery. As in the beginning I said, human consciousness is one. So if we are in confusion, if our mind is in confusion, then whatever we think and feel, we add to the confusion of the world, conflict of the world, and into the misery of the world. So he tells us, he who is eager to reform the world must change himself radically. So the next slide, there is a way of living without struggle. That slide you can project. Yes. Here there is a way of living without struggle. And he gives the example, it is like the lily, like lotus flower that grows slowly and it does not struggle. The being of anything is the goodness of it. But we are not educated for that at all. See, when you see the flower, the stages are in the mud. The lotus flower in the mud, seed germinates. So our germination and growth takes place in the womb of the mother, Adi Shakti, mud. That darkness is the source of our life. So this first process is in the mud. Without mud, we can't germinate even. Our divine seed won't get opportunity to germinate without such kind of fertile mud. So the first stage is germinating in the mud. Then second stage is growing. Growing in the field of emotion and mind. So here, mind and emotions playing their role. As the lotus flower comes out in the water, it grows, its stem grows in the water. That means our thinking and feeling, heart and mind, that water is compared with our emotion force, and that balance is required, and then it grows. And this is the stage of growing. So the first stage is germinating. Second stage is getting ready to bloom. For that, we are preparing ourselves, purifying ourselves, and becoming more and more fit to raise our head above the lower world. So then, in the air and in the sunlight, that flower blooms. So, grow as the flower grows. This is the statement of the light on the path. This gives, and therefore here he says there is a way of living without struggle. It is like the lily. Lily means here, this is the what lily. Behind me it is a lily. Or this lily, like the flower that grows, it does not struggle. We are struggling because we want to become something. And each flower is beautiful because it doesn't want to become anything. It wants to bloom. We doesn't want to bloom our own nature. but we want to compare, we want to become like the ideal others. So there is a struggle. Like the flower that grows, it does not struggle. It is the being of, it is the being, just existing. Being of anything is the goodness of it. So as a human being, we have to remain as the human being. But he says, we are not educated for that at all. We are educated to compete. We are educated to compare. We are educated to become something. And that education needs to be changed. We have to be educated in this manner. Then second slide is Om. That also you can put now. See this Om, A-U-M. Again, 3 stages. I am comparing this. A, U, and M. A, U, M. A is to be born, to appear. That is what I said. The stage of germination. And U is rise up, fly, development. That is growth. And M to become silent, becoming Brahmalina, infinite energy, that is blooming. So these are the stages we can compare. And then when we think of politics, the question was asked, the prison walls of tradition have no value in revolution. We have our prison walls of tradition. We can't break our tradition. And therefore the question was asked to Krishnamurti, what is the difference between Indian culture and American culture? American culture has become now European culture. And he says, both the cultures, they have same underneath movement. And what is that movement, underneath movement of both these cultures? That underneath movement is to find happiness. Every culture wants happiness. That underneath movement is the same. Even if Indian culture is different from the European culture. What is Indian culture? What do you mean by the word culture? If you have ever done any gardening, you know how you cultivate and prepare the soil. This is what Krishnamurti has explained. You dig, you remove the rocks. If necessary, you add compost and decomposed mixture of leaves, hay, manure, and other kinds of organic matter, and make the soil rich. And then you plant. The rich soil gives nourishment to the plant, and the plant gradually produces that marvelous, lovely thing called rose. Now, the Indian culture is like that. Millions of people have produced it by their struggles, by exercising their will, by wanting this and resisting that, constantly thinking, suffering, fearing, avoiding, enjoying. Also, they have worked with climate, food, clothing, which they have their influence on them. So we have here in the Indian soil, he spoke much about the Indian culture and Indian soil. He said, Indian soil is an extraordinary soil. The soil being the mind. And before it was completely molded, there were a few vital creative people who exploded all over Asia. They did not say, as you do, I must accept the edict of society. What will my father think if I do not? On the contrary, they were people who had found something, and they were not lukewarm. They were not hot about it. Now the whole of that is the Indian culture. This is how he explained the Indian culture, how it is important, the soil is important. In dialogue also, many people ask why you take much side of this Indian soil. Even he asked us to preserve Adyar campus, have a compound around it. It has got its own importance. Indian soil is important. What you think, the food you eat, the clothes you put on, your manners, your traditions, your speech, your paintings, your statues, your gods, your priests, and your sacred books. All that is Indian culture. That is how he describes. So the Indian culture is somewhat different from the European culture. But underneath the movement to find out happiness is the same. So this movement may express itself differently in America, because in America the demands are different. There is less tradition. They have more refrigeration. They have more cars and so on. But underneath, it is the same movement. The movement to find happiness, to find out what God is. Not to be held in by fear of your parents, of society, so that there is in you this timeless moment to discover what truth is. The man who seek out what is truth, what is God, only such men can create a new civilization. So no religion is higher than truth. That is our motto, Theosophical Society. And here he gives this importance. See, underneath movement of all tradition and culture needs to be seeking the truth, a new culture, not the people who conform or who merely revolt within the prison. You may put on the robes of an ascetic, join this society or that, live one religion for another, try in various ways to be free. But unless there is within you this movement to find out what is the real, what is truth, what is love, your efforts will be without significance. This is what he explains on the politics and culture. The next topic is on war. We will read those questions and then we may take little bit. So we will finish this. See, about the war, he asks certain question. What is war? I can see the mind, human mind is one. If you think of human mind, then your mind, my mind, and everybody's mind has got these opposites, hate and love. we love some people and we hate other people. We love one cricket team and hate other cricket team. So this hate and love is the content of common human mind. But it is influencing locally, in the family, in the office, in the religious organization. This is what we see, how this hate and love, they are influencing. There are struggles, quarrels, and all kind of morchas. But when all these hate, your hate, my hate, everybody's hate comes together, it becomes a larger hate field. And that hate field influences and expresses outside as the war. So the source of war is in the human mind, everybody's mind. We are not free from this duality of hate and love. We really don't love. Only we like some people and we dislike some people. Those who like, we say, we name it as we love. We don't love, only we like it. So liking is different from the love. So the problem of war is in human mind. Once we have this basic thing in mind, then what he asks, he says, war is the spectacular. He says, war is the spectacular, bloody projection of our everyday life. So as I explained, what is our everyday life? Our everyday life is caught in likes and dislikes, hate and love. And it projects out as a bloody projection and it becomes spectacular. So war is the spectacular and bloody projection of our everyday life. Then he asks, is there anything an individual can do to stop the such impending war? Is there anything an individual can do to stop the impending war? And when all except few do not want war, so why do they prepare for war? All except few do not want war, so why do they prepare for war? Then as you are responsible for war, you must be responsible for peace as well. So what is civilization? It is an expression of the collective will, is it not? He asked. Humanity progresses and becomes perfect, civilization after civilization. And what is civilization? He asks. It is an expression of collective will. So make that collective will. Make that public opinion. And influence that public opinion to stop preparing the armaments. Stop naming the religions or castes right from the education system. The basic question is, will there be an end to these evil wars and violence? And the statement is, a stone may alter the course of a river. A stone may alter the course of a river. So one man also can do a lot. And I think Krishnamurti himself has brought change in human consciousness by his way of giving, telling us something. Yes.
So we'll close here, and I request Subralina.
Okay.
Sister
Okay.
Subralina
Right.
to present. Sister Subralina, I welcome you to present the flute of.
It is a serious subject we are discussing.
Yes, sir.
Yes, nice.
Thank you, Subralina. Thank you very much. Thank you, Vishwajit, for your flute playing. Sir, we can now start.
Yeah, we must be. We were talking about the war and the very great statement which it appealed to me. A stone may alter the course of a river. A stone may alter the course of a river. Here I think the last question, the stone may alter the course of a river. This I think Krishnamurti himself, he has altered the course of the river. River here, the human consciousness, how it is flowing. And we are talking of a man who has been pursuing the path of becoming and has gone through this sense of emptiness, silence, and energy, and who has come back to the world and he says, here I am. What is their relationship to the society? Because we look to the Krishnamurti as the world teacher. In one of his poems, he says, I am the truth, I am the law, I am the refugee, I am the guide, the companion, and the beloved. These are the terms he has used in his poem. So here I am. What is their relationship to the society? That man's mind is entirely different, but yet he is in the world. What is his relationship to you and me, who are accustomed to division and darkness? He is all compassion, but he won't even call it compassion. He will work to find a way to penetrate the darkness. Is that the only function he has? Just to reach people to move out of darkness? He may write, he may preach, he may heal, do this or that, but all these activities are rather trivial. He has something much more immense. He is doing something totally different to affect the consciousness of man. That immensity which he is must have an effect, some sort of extraordinary effect that spreads. The other acted on human consciousness at three different levels of consciousness. The other acted because it is said something higher force worked through Krishnamurti. The other acted on human consciousness at three different levels of consciousness. Since consciousness emerges from the ground, this activity is affecting all mankind, the whole universe from the ground. He has that immense intelligence, that something, and he must operate at a much greater level than one can possibly concern. Somehow he makes possible an activity of the ground in the whole consciousness of mankind, which would not have been possible without Krishnamurti. He is part of that movement. He does nothing, and that very doing nothing makes possible the action of the ground. So these are the words in the ending of time, chapter 7. So if you read, and there is a poem which I must read here. He writes, for many ages, through many lives. We know the Alcyone, 40 lives of Alcyone. And in his poem he writes, for many ages, through many lives, have I prepared, but now, behold, the cup is full. The world shall drink of it. Men shall grow into thy divinity. Thy happiness shall shine on his face. For thy messenger shall go forth. I am he that opens the heart of man, that gives comfort. And finally he writes, I am the truth, I am the law, I am the refugee, I am the guide, the companion, and the beloved. With these words, actually, we pay homage and regards to the J. Krishnamurti on his eve of birth anniversary on 11th May. So I selected this topic because he has given wholeheartedly some instruction to the whole humanity. He asked, if you do not follow somebody, you feel very lonely. If you do not follow somebody, you feel very lonely. It is true. We are after Guru, we are after guidance, we are after religious organization. We want to follow, we are actually followers. And then he asks, if you do not follow somebody, you feel very lonely. Then he says, be lonely then. Why are you frightened of being alone? Ask yourself and find out, because you are faced with yourself as you are. You are faced with yourself as you are. Therefore, you are frightened of being alone. Just find out that you are empty, you are dull, you are stupid, ugly, guilty, anxious, a petty, shoddy, second-hand entity. Find out yourself and face the fact. Look at it. Don't run away from it. And the moment you run away from it, the fear begins. Therefore, he asks, if you be lonely then, why you are afraid of this loneliness? Why you are frightened of being alone? Because you are not ready to face. You can project few more his slides.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Then we finish this, and then next we can take education is important actually.
The crisis is not.
Yes. The crisis is not in the outward technological advancement. The crisis is not in the outward technological advancement, but rather in the way we think, in the way we live, and in the way we feel. So what we think, how we live, how we feel, this is all important. That is where the revolution must take place. He points us. And next slide.
It is a vast cynical world.
It is a vast cynical world. And cynicism can never tolerate affection, care, love. I think we have lost that quality of compassion. So this is how he gives talk on the war. How can we do? And a stone may alter the course of a river. If we take it, if we begin to be righteous in our own heart, that makes much difference in the whole human consciousness. So the next chapter is on the education. You can put that questions on education. It is very important for all of us, because unless there is right education, there cannot be a right new generation to come up.
Right, sir. I have already.
Yeah. Education and world peace. What part education can play in the present crisis? How do we look at our patriotic feeling? When do we feel patriotic? What is the place of military training in education? Can we ever attain peace through violence? In peace, is peace to be achieved gradually through a slow process of time? These are the important questions which we must deal with. Can we ever attain peace through violence? And the answer is, we can't. No is the only answer. But dana, sila, shanti, that patience we can develop. We can be patient. And if we attain that qualification of patience, patience is very important. That patience gives faith in God. That patience gives love towards our family. That patience gives us a respect to all others, living beings and non-living beings. And also that patience gives us confidence. Confidence to accept our past without regrets, and also gives strength, confidence to learn lesson, for which we need serenity to accept the things which we cannot change. So we have to accept those which we cannot change. That means we must have courage to accept. We must have confidence to accept our previous karma also, whatever karma that brings in our life. And then we must handle the present situation with full awareness, with full confidence, so that we can change the things as to be changed. And third thing, we must also ready to face our future. This is all kind of education we must give to the students. We can face future without fear and get the wisdom. What is wisdom? Wisdom to know what is the next step. So that kind of knowing wisdom we will get when we are without fear. Look towards the future. The J. Krishnamurti, in fact, explores the themes like nature of learning, discipline, intelligence, authority, and freedom. Even the responsibility of parents and teachers in educating the children, and the role of religion in education, and the role of education in the world peace. And then he asks questions. First he explores these themes and then asks question, how do you find out the fears that are hidden? Consciously you can be aware of your fears, but at the deeper level of your mind, there are fears. Are you aware of them? And then he asks, he also makes us to clear saying that his teachings are only meant, or his teachings are only means of pointing, explaining, but you have to do the work of understanding yourself. Then the mirror is not important, you can throw it away. So don't depend on me, he says. I am just the mirror. I am reflecting what you are. Then the mirror is not important. You can throw it away. His thinking is free from the conditioning influences of the different systems of philosophy. In fact, Krishnaji's life and work opens a new chapter in the history of Indian philosophy and religion by his earnest and deep inquiry into the nature of existence and reality without the presumptions and assumptions. He begins at a schoolboy level. When we are thinking of education, he begins at a schoolboy level and say, do these things, no belief. He asks us to do these things at the education level to the boys, that no belief, don't control anything, observe that you have beliefs, observe that you cling to the beliefs, observe that belief is an illusion, observe that it is not reality. Look, just look, don't accept theories, don't accept conclusions, don't cling to your prejudices. To find the ground, this is what we must teach to the student in education. And then become completely rational in your own life. If I cannot do that, I cannot reach the ground which is the most rational. If we are completely rational, then there will be total insight. And it is possible to have that insight if your mind is free from time. So this is what I am quoting from the ending of Time, chapter 3. And then he says, change your beliefs into living flowers. Then he says to the education, the word tradition means to hand out, to give to another. And also it has quite a different meaning. Tradition means also betrayal. You are betraying when you are traditional, because you are not living. You are just carrying on what others have said. Therefore, you are betraying your life. I am not denying God. He says, I am not denying God. Rather, it would be foolish to do so. Only the man who does not know reality indulges in meaningless words. The man who says he knows does not know. The man who is experiencing reality from moment to moment has no means of communicating that reality. That is why it is so important for all of us, whatever we are, whether Hindus or Christian, always to look behind the outward form, behind the fashions, gorgeous robes, or the simple cloth. We must find the reality behind the outward show. In other words, we must find the God we are all worshipping. We must all trade the path what we talk. We must have a great realization of God that we worship. Then all forms will take secondary place, because we then shall have seen the reality. I don't think there is greater quality in the world than that which we have in India. India has, he says, India has this quality, the capacity to follow. It can be noble and magnificent, but to follow intelligently means that you must understand what the leader has seen, what the masters want. If you can do that, it becomes quite easy to follow and also to construct it. The religion of Hinduism is very old, he says, many centuries old. And during that time, it has gathered many accretions, many superstitions have grown up, many useless customs have developed. We have to discard, to eliminate, to destroy, if necessary, those superstitions, changing our beliefs into a living flowers. Even though we attend the temple practically every day, our religion has in fact become unreal, something to which we have to submit. One can see that with us, religion, instead of being a driving force, a creative and living force, that has become a superstition which subjugates and kills. And if we keep it a mere matter of form, we shall not build India. We shall not bring her back to what she used to be, the glory of the world. This is what he gave in his temple talks, how the Hinduism is important and how our life in old age, it was precious. Now you can focus the other two. I don't know whether you have those slides. Do you know what it means to learn? He asked. Yes, this slide is also important as for education. He says here in India, nobody wants you to be free. Everybody wants you to be respectable. And the moment you are respectable, you are finished. There can be no freedom for you. To find out what freedom is, you must have tremendous energy. And that energy comes into being only when there is no fear. And the next slide about learning, you can put the next slide.
Yes, yes, sir.
Learning is not laying the foundation of knowledge. Learning is from moment to moment. Watching yourself infinitely, never condemning, never judging, never evaluating, but merely learning, merely observing. The moment you condemn, the moment you interpret, the moment you evaluate, you have a pattern. You have a pattern of knowledge. And that pattern of knowledge, that experience prevents you from looking and learning. This is what public talk he gave in session July 1964. So these are the some of the points which we can study regarding education and world peace. Unless we have faith in God again, that is
Next
love
slide.
for family, respect for others, and confidence in oneself. These things should be taught in the education. Then the next last, not yes, last.
Yes.
Last one, this one. Can the human being completely change? This is what chapter. And the questions we have to contemplate. You must inquire about need of change. Inquire about your own brain, how it has cerebral patterns of behavior. Inquire about your consciousness, how it can be free from its all contents and give rise to that sensitive perception. Question your own isolation. Why you are afraid of being alone? If I as a human being change, will it affect in any way rest of the mankind? Change and see what happens. How will it affect the whole consciousness of mankind? Please do put that question to yourself. If I change, what effect has it in the world? If I change, what effect has it in the world? So when we think of this future of man, how can we bring the complete change? This is really important question we must deal. Actually, this is very necessary. And therefore, we are going to look together why man has become cruel, destructive, violent, idealistic, and especially in the world of technology, he is doing astonishing things of which most of us are unaware. Why after thousands of years of wars, shedding tears, a human being through a long period of time is actually behaving in this manner? Man has divided the world into nationalities. Man has divided the world into Catholic and Protestants, Hindu, Muslim, and so on. He has divided religiously. And where there is division, as the Arab, the Jew, the Hindu, the Muslim, and so on, where there is division, there must be conflict. This is natural law, which is what is actually taking place in the world. Why is there this division? Who has brought this about? Why has man become what he is in spite of great experience, in spite of great knowledge, in spite of vast technological advancement? Why has he remained more or less what he has been for 40,000 years. Why is it? Because of our mind, our brain. Is it not programmed like computer? The computer is programmed by the professionals, and it can be repeat perhaps much quicker, more rapidly than human brain. We cannot discard technical knowledge, but we can become inwardly aware of our ugliness, of our ruthlessness, of our deceptions, of our dishonesty. So the peace is not achieved by patchwork reform, nor by a mere rearrangement of old ideas and superstitions. So look at our brains. They are conditioned to be this or that, to behave in a certain manner, to enjoy, to suffer, to have great burden of fear, to have uncertainty, confusion, and ultimate fear of death. These are the cerebral patterns of our behavior. Whether you want it or not, you feel depressed, you feel alone. This is the effect of our outward influence of consciousness, common consciousness. We are conditioned to that. And there is a whole group of people, professors, scholars, writers, including the communists with their guru, Marx, who say that the human brain will always be conditioned. It can never be free. You can modify the conditioning by environmental influence. So it is better in talking together, we become aware of our own thinking, our own reactions, our own responses, which have limitations, which are conditioned, and they are depending upon the past knowledge. You see how your life becomes very narrow. So wherever there is limitation, as Hindu, Muslim, there must be conflict. Where there is division between husband and wife, there must be conflict. And human beings throughout the world, after all this evolution, are still in conflict with each other. So please consider all this, because we are concerned with our life as a human being. And that life, our daily living, has become extraordinarily complex, extraordinarily dangerous, difficult, uncertain. The future of man is really in danger. This is not a threat. This is not a pessimistic point of view. The crisis is not only physical, but it is in our consciousness, in our being. So talking over together, become aware of all this. In becoming aware, you begin to discover, you begin to find out for yourself how your life has become such pain, such anxiety, such uncertainty. If you are so aware, you can then proceed more deeply. But if you merely listen to the words, words have very little meaning. Words have a certain significance. But if one lives in words, as most people do, in symbols and myths, that is not useful. Inwardly, we have systems, we have ideals, we have all the so-called sacred books, but we have not radically brought about a change, a psychological revolution. And we are going to inquire into that, whether is it possible to bring about total mutation in the brain cells themselves. We are talking about the radical change of human behavior so that man is not self-centered. So this is what he is insisting. Then you put the slides, next slides.
Yes, sir.
Does the intuition comes from past experience? He asks. Yeah, here he asks, does intuition come from past experiences? To me, intuition is intelligence. And intelligence is not past experience. It is the understanding of the past experience. And in the next slide again, next slide you put.
Yes, sir. Sir.
Yes. Krishnamurti, the vehicle for the world teacher. The experiment was brought to the end. That is what his diagram I have given. I am giving this because most of us are merely controlled by the sanctions of society, by the social morality which says this is good and this is bad. We are caught in the conflict between what is and what should be. And that is why we have ceased to love. This is his teaching. Somebody asked then, when we are saying Krishnamurti is the world teacher, then what is the basic difference between Buddha and Krishnamurti? And very nicely answered by Rinpoche in his long discussion. This question was asked to Rinpoche, Director, Central Institute of Higher Tibetan Studies, Saranath, Varanasi. And he had that great opportunity of having listened to Krishnaji. And when this question was asked, and he said, he himself discussed with Krishnaji in depth. And he writes, then I realized that between the Buddha and Krishnaji, there was a basic difference of approach. The Buddha always spoke at two levels, the relative and absolute. Krishnaji never spoke at the relative level. He always spoke at the level of the absolute. The relative truth goes with the process of thought, and the Buddha adopted that as one of his methods to help the people take a deep inquiry into his own thought. Apparently, Krishnaji's approach is that this method is a longer journey. It would take a longer way, and people should therefore get away from the relative truth in a spontaneous manner and get into the absoluteness. The absolute truth, when the Buddha speaks of the absolute, I personally do not find any difference with Krishnaji's teachings or Krishnaji's teachings with Buddha's teaching of Prajna Paramita or the absolute truth. Another difference between then is in preparation of the people, the listeners. Krishnamurti is silent or does not speak of preparation, whereas Buddha deals with quite a lot with the preparation of the person, it being a prerequisite for them to reach the level of transformation. Both Buddha and Krishnaji have similar positions at the moment of transformation or transmutation. There is no time, there is no graduation. It must be spontaneous and immediate. Whether this side or that side, perception is perception. There is no slow growth or graduation. The Buddha dealt with the preparation of the person aspiring by reaching up to the level with certain graduation and methods. But Krishnaji never accepted these things. He perhaps looked for granted that everyone was capable of transforming himself without involving the preparative measures. So thought is a basic instrument of our life. But for perception, thought has no role at all to play. All kinds of thought have to be negated according to Buddha as well as according to Krishnaji. But among Buddhist people, thought has been accepted as one of the means or methods during preparation. As I said earlier, Krishnaji does not accept or does not talk about preparation. The basic point to be emphasized is to become free from every kind of conditioning, imposition, or presupposition in order to be free from all kinds of thought, the words, and he dealt quite a lot with the preparation. Sorry. Therefore, Krishnaji especially emphasized denying any teacher-taught relationship. In the ordinary sense, their own minds are to be actively used for searching. The attitude of dependency is the most dangerous hindrance to the development of a person to perceive reality. Both the Buddha and Krishnamurti employed the method of negating things, negation, because reality as perceived by them is incommunicable through language, through words, through any other means of communication. The only way left for them is to negate all possible conceptions of thought or of imagination. In this way, the person comes closer to reality after negating everything. Then the way of seeing reality becomes more pointed. There is possibility of seeing reality as it is. This is what we are dealing last 2 days. And I think if you have any discussion to or add in this, you can add. Not as Krishnamurti is teaching, but as your understanding, you can add in this. Thank you very much for patiently listening. Actually, after a long period, I am giving such long talks. Otherwise, in my service, I was giving many talks, but now it is really, I am feeling this little bit strenuous. Thank you very much, Pradeep ji, and all of
Thank you, sir. Thank
are
you.
listening. If you have anybody want to add in it, they can be.
Sir, it is I doubt whether anyone can add, but I welcome anybody like to add or any questions. If you have, they can ask any question.
Sir, you have pointed out.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, you have pointed out, but
Your voice is not clear.
Just Bimalji raised her hand. If you asked anything, just wait for a moment. Yes, Bimalji, what is your question? Yes.
Basically, a part of the
Yeah. Vimal ji?
because yeah, can you hear me?
And now
Yes,
I
yes.
can hear you.
Okay, basic some internet problem. No, I'm just grateful to Shindeji for this book because Krishnamurti is so hard to understand, but this book was much easier. I think I really was able to understand, and finally, I think there is some opening for me to understand Krishnamurti. And then one thing in this chapter on politics, which I thought was very beautiful. I thought I will just read it out because
Okay.
I noticed you had not mentioned it.
Ah.
It is about God, okay? So a mind that is not innocent can never receive that which is innocent. God, truth, or whatever the thing that is not nameable, the immeasurable, that cannot be without an innocent mind. Without a mind that is dead to all the things of society, dead to power,
Yeah.
position, prestige, dead to knowledge. So I thought this was so profound. And for me, like when I'm reading that, what comes to my mind, because I am dealing with my special son,
Good.
I have seen special children are just this. They are dead to power, dead to position, dead to prestige. They don't care for knowledge. They're not accumulating knowledge. They are not making something of themselves. There is no ambition. They live in a sense of peace and tranquility. They listen to music. So many autistic children, if you know a few, you will see they have no problem with anybody, but the problem is created by everybody around, because they want them also to become part of the rat race. Even they think that we have got a disabled child. Actually, if you think about it, it's if this is the state they are already in. What's this state where there is no ambition, there is nothing, there's no reification of the self. So I just thought that this beautiful innocent story.
Yeah. Good, Vimalji. It is said, we must not discuss about the Krishnaji.
Yes.
Actually, you open any chapter, he is not continuous. Any chapter you open and read, and when you read, it is very simple sentences,
Yes.
but you involve in it, and those words have got their influence, and some of them, some lines will go deep into your consciousness, and you feel something. It's enough not to discuss, but that is very essential to read him or to listen him also. By listening also, his actions are speaking much. When he is giving stress and strain to the tone, all that was a kind of preaching. And he was really, we must read and not to discuss.
Yes.
And that will be helpful for us. I don't know how it get. That is what advice was given by the Einstein to Heisenberg. He asked to keep theosophical books or the secret doctrine on his table. And when you find in conflict, you just open it. So each book, each teaching, such sacred teachings have their own influence. And in the same way, you find that innocence, the point of innocence, and Krishnamurti has innocent mind. That is true. Radhaji has written one article about Krishnamurti as the innocent mind, innocent person. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Next, I request a brother who is from USA. He has been joining. Brother, are you still available? Okay. Somebody asking any question? Is it Adyar? Are you asking any question or anything?
No, nothing, sir. Wonderful. The Krishnamurti although has explained or written the book, say about 4 decades before. But what I heard is it has all the solution for the coming problem and the present day problem. And how a person can evolve and get ready to reach into the 5th race. He has made a path, he has given a direction to it, and it has been wonderfully explained by the great Sindhe ji, and I really enjoyed it. And right from the politics to the education to the other part of the life, even to the self-involvement or self-evolution, everything has been very well explained. I salute to Sindhe ji and that book.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now I request Jayananda Harivanti from USA. He has been attending for 2 days. Would you like to, sir, add something or throw some?
No, thank you.
Yeah.
just happened to keep this mute open. So I had no question because thank you very much. And I've learned quite a few things
Yes.
through your talks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes,
Very
very
Thank you,
beautiful.
Jangan. Yes. Anyone else?
Sindhe Sahib, it's very beautifully and very in simple way you explain.
Kamalji.
Oh, Kamalji has attended. Oh,
Yes.
she attended our Marathi Federation also.
Beautifully, it's beautiful.
Thank you,
Yes, sir.
Kamalji.
I'm not able to find her. Yes. Okay, and Dr. Susma Srivastav, would you like
Oh, yes,
to?
Sushma is there, Dr. Sushma ji.
Yes, Susma ji, yes.
नमस्कार
Susma ji.
नमस्कार सर
Namaste.
Share
अभी जो
your view
अभी
on
विमल जी ने जो प्रश्न पूछा विमल जी ने प्रश्न पूछा था इनोसेंट माइंड के संबंध में, तो जो आपने जवाब दिया मैं उसके बारे में सोच रही थी कि जय कृष्णमूर्ति ने कहा कि जब कोई वार्ता देता है तो जो लिसनर होता है वह यह सोचता है कि वार्ता खत्म होने के बाद मैं इनसे ये प्रश्न करूंगा, लेकिन वो प्रश्न खुद उसका आंसर खुद में ढूंढना है। शिंदे साहब ने मेरे प्रश्न का जवाब दे दिया। इट इज मोर इम्पोर्टेंट टू लिसन देन डिस्कस, टू गो इनटू डीपर योरसेल्फ, यू विल फाइंड आंसर। तो मेरे जहन में ये प्रश्न उठा था और उसका जब प्रश्न विमल जी ने पूछा और जवाब भी शिंदे साहब ने दे दिया, यही प्रश्न मेरे मन में उठा था कि क्या ये संवाद नहीं है, संवाद नहीं हो सकता? इज इट नॉट डायलॉग कि आपने कोई बात कही, मैंने वो प्रश्न पूछा, तो इट इज डायलॉग मेथड। तो क्या इसमें कोई गलती, इसमें कोई गलत बात है? Am I clear? Am I clear?
Dialogue is always better
जी
rather than arguments.
जी
So people they argue,
जी
but dialogue and discussion helps, no doubt. But we should not depend upon this. What I was telling,
जी
you can have dialogue, but you think over what Krishna ji has said independently with your own innocent mind. Something will click in your mind. When he says, look to the tree and look through the tree, that has got something different experience, and that must be experienced by everyone.
Right, sir. So
Thank you,
sir.
thank you.
Thank you, Usman ji, and thank you all the members and sympathizers who have participated from India, also outside India. Now I convey my regards, gratitude to Professor C.A. Sindhe for delivering 2 hours each day, 2 days, and with a request that in future he will also give service to the Indian section, as he is a part and parcel of the Indian section. And with these words, now I request Mithalini ji to close with a closing prayer.
Namaste to all. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityurmang amrutangamaya sarve bhavantu sukhinah sarve santu niramaya sarve bhadrani pashyantu na kaschit dukha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Namaskar. Good night.
Namaskar. Now I request all the members who are here to join tomorrow at 10:30 Indian section online program. We have with us brother Narendra Saab from Kenya. He will deliver a speech on significance of white lotus day. Tomorrow is, we know the founder Blavatsky gone to peace on the 8th May, which we celebrate throughout the world. We TS members celebrate this function, and in online from Kenya, he will deliver a talk. So I request you all kindly attend at 10:30 a.m. For tomorrow function. With this announcement, now I thank you for attending the program. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Very nice.